and welcome back to day 6 of the 12 days of crochet. So far we've made the 6-spotted ladybug, the blue-banded bee, the snail, a rosy maple moth, and yesterday we made a dragonfly. So the clue for day 6 is that this little bug can rotate its head 180 degrees. Don't forget to stick around until the end of the video to get a clue as to who we're making on day 7, because this little bug marks the halfway point in our challenge. How are you going so far with your guesses? Let me know in the comments down below how many you've guessed correctly so far. But without further ado, let us open up box number 6 and see who we're making today. Hello! You ready to see? She's very cute and little in the box. We're going to be making an Orchid Mantis. And folks, she's cute, she's adorable, she's got a little butt, and she's insanely difficult. She's so cute though. She's such a little sweetie. She's made all in one piece. So let's talk about tools and materials you'll need to make our little Orchid Mantis. To start with, you're going to need 8-ply 100% acrylic yarn in 2 colors. You're going to need a white and you're going to need a pink. Now, if you would like to add the details to the eyes the way I have, you're also going to need a scrap amount of black and a needle. But otherwise, this pattern is completely no-sew. And you're also going to need some stuffing. Now, in terms of tools, you're going to need the aforementioned needle, scissors, a 3.5mm hook, and this is not an exaggerated pile of stitch markers. I recommend having 10 stitch markers. 10. That is the exact number one of the rows in this pattern needs. Might be a little bit of overkill, but trust me, it makes that row manageable in a way that I'm not sure it otherwise is. So yeah, 10 stitch markers. And that's it. Are you scared yet? Okay, so our little lady here is constructed all in one piece. We start in the middle of the head, then we move out and build the eyes and antennas, down the neck, build the arms, down the body a little bit more, we build the legs, and then we move past the back of the body to finish off underneath, leaving us with this pretty little lady. Now you could also make her entirely in green if you wanted to, but you were all quite specific in that it was an Orchid Mantis that you wanted, and I have done my very best to deliver. Okay, let's get started. Grab your white, and we're going to start with a magic ring of 6. Like so. Then in row 2, we're going to start with 2 repeats of a single crochet and an increase. So there's our first repeat, and we're going to do that again. Single crochet and increase. We have 2 stitches left in our round, and we're going to work a single crochet and then 3 single crochet all into the same stitch. 1, 2, and 3. So there we are at the end of row 2, and we should have 10 stitches in our round. In row 3, we're going to be building the eyes and the antenna. So we start with a single crochet, changing to our pink. So how we do color changes is we insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So we have 2 loops of our white on our hook, hold it out of the way, grab a strand of our pink, pinch it in place on the back of the stitch, then yarn over and pull it through both loops on your hook. Then just tug on the tails to settle it down into position. Now you can lock that in place by just tying your pink and white in a knot behind, which I am going to do today, but I'm not going to trim off my white because we will be changing back to it very shortly. So what that will leave us with is a white single crochet, but our pink is on our hook ready to go. So we are now making the eye. I've split a couple of the rows in this pattern into chunks, and this is one of them just because I think it makes it a little bit more legible. So for the eye, we're going to be working a 5 treble crochet cluster. And what that means is we're going to yarn over our hook twice, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, leaving us with 4 loops on our hook. I'm then going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops and yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. And what that's done is given us this stub, this not quite complete treble crochet. It's added a loop to our hook, leaving us with 2 in total. So we actually need to work this little stub piece 4 more times for 5 in total into this same stitch. So yarn over twice, insert into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So there is our second stub, adding a third loop to our hook. Third stub, fourth loop on hook. Fourth stub, fifth loop on hook, and one more. Fifth stub, 6 loops on our hook. So that is what our eyeball currently looks like. Then we just yarn over and pull through all 6 loops. So there is our first giant eyeball. So now we are moving on to the antenna. So we are going to single crochet into the next stitch around, still working in our pink. Then we're going to work an antenna. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to turn, so we're working back down our chains, and we're going to work 3 slip stitches down the chains. 1, 2, 3. So there is our first little antenna. We're going to single crochet into the head, and we're going to work another little antenna. So chain 4, turn, and work 3 slip stitches down the chains. 1, 2, and 3. Single crochet back into the head. And now we need to work our second eye, changing back to our white. So we're going to work our 5 treble crochet cluster. Exactly the same way as we did before, just getting up to the point where we have 6 loops on our hook. So I'm up to 4. 5. And 6. And now I'm just going to hold my pink out of the way. I'm going to pull my strand of white across from where it's still attached from before. Just making sure I don't pull it too tightly so I don't pinch the work. And I'm going to yarn over with that white and pull through all 6 of those loops. Scooch it into place, tug on the pink to tighten it down. But in general, there is our second little eye, and that is what our piece currently looks like, with 4 stitches left in our round. So in our white, we are going to work 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are at the end of row 3. So in terms of our detail rows, that's the easiest of them, I think. So we've got some nice simple stuff now before we reach the arms. So row 4, it starts with 8 single crochet. It's 1, 2, 3. Fold the antenna forward so it ends up as an outie, not an innie. 4. 5. 6 falls in the back of the second eyeball. 7 and 8. And there should be 2 stitches left in our round, and I want you to decrease in them. And you can use either invisible decreases or standard decreases, it's up to you. So there we are at the end of row 4. Row 5 starts with a decrease, then 5 single crochet around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then a decrease to finish the row. Now that's going to leave us with just 7 stitches in our round. So at this point, I'm going to just tuck that yarn end in. I'm going to stuff this head just a little bit. There won't be much room in there, but after we work the neck, it becomes really hard to stuff the head some more. Just get a little bit of stuffing in there now. And I think I'm going to trim off the pink and just reattach it later when we want it. Just because then there's fewer strands getting tangled on everything. Okay, So row 6 starts with 2 single crochet, then a decrease, and 2 single crochet, 1 and 2, and finally 3 single crochet all into the same stitch. Now this is going to look slightly off to one side. That's because it is. Your praying mantis is posing. She's looking off to one side. She just looks silly if you have her facing forward. Just take my word for it. So that should leave us with 8 stitches in our round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I do recommend that you stop and regularly count the stitch count because, yeah, this project is about to become a nightmare. Row 7, the last of the nice, sweet, simple rows. It starts with 2 single crochet. 1 and 2, then a decrease, 2 single crochet, 1 and 2, and 2 increases, one after the other. So there is our first one, and there is our second one. This is what we currently look like. If your eyes appear to be different sizes, it's an illusion. Just pinch the stitches a little bit, they will form. So at this point, if you want to, you can try and stuff a little bit more stuffing in. That's kind of the name of the game with this project. We're just going to stuff a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. Okay, so we're heading into row 8 now, and this is the row that I want you to have all the bobby pins for. All nice and easy and ready to go. So it's overkill, but I am going to suggest that we mark nearly every single stitch in this round. When you make this a second time, if you choose to make it a second time, you'll probably choose not to mark every single stitch. If I was just making this for myself, I probably wouldn't mark every single stitch, but I do think that your first time through this pattern, you should mark every stitch. Just go with it. It's going to make sense in a second. So the first stitch of row 8 is a single crochet, changing to our pink. Just going to make sure that I anchor that pink in there nicely, but I am not trimming off my white because we will be needing it again very soon. There we are. I've anchored my pink. Tuck that down inside. My pink is on my hook ready to go, and I'm going to mark that white stitch because that is the first stitch of our round. And what did I say? Every stitch. Well, it's not all every stitch, it's most stitches. Okay, so now we have pink on our hook, we're going to make our first little arm. And if you look at these little arms, they give the impression of being good little praying mantis arms, but if you look at them really closely, they are a chaotic assortment of stitches, but they will hopefully make some sense once we step through them. So we are going to start by chaining 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. We're going to turn, and starting in the second chain from our hook, we are going to work a 2 double crochet plus picot cluster. That's right, everybody, complicated knots is making up stitches again. So how we do that is we yarn over our hook, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, leaving you with 3 loops on your hook. I want you to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, leaving you with a little nub and 2 loops on your hook. And we're going to do that again. So yarn over your hook, insert into the same chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. So now we have 2 little nubs and 3 loops on our hook. We're now going to work a picot using just the loop closest to the end of our hook. So a picot is when we chain 3, like so, then slip stitch into the first one of the chains, like so, creating just a tiny little point, tiny little nub, which I've poked through to the outside. And now we're going to finish off our cluster, because we still have 3 loops on our hook, by just yarning over and pulling through all 3. So it doesn't look like much yet. So we're now just going to turn our focus back to our base chain, where we should still have 3 chains left that we can work into. In the next one along, we're going to work a slip stitch. We're then going to work 3 single crochet all into the same chain. So 1, 2, and 3, leaving us with 1 chain remaining, and we're going to work a double crochet into that chain, and we're going to mark the double crochet. Okay, so a double crochet is when we yarn over our hook, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, leaving us with 3 loops on our hook. We're then going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. We're going to mark this one, and if you have a different colored stitch marker or type of stitch marker you can use, you want to label this one as arm 1. And I'm going to use just a little scrap of yarn for that, for illustrative purposes. Let's see, who has a scrap of yarn I can borrow? I'm going to use a little bit of blue. My blue marker is arm 1. That'll be relevant later. So we currently have 2 stitch markers inserted into our work. So now we are going to go back to working in the stitches of our round, and we're going to work a single crochet, changing to our white. And we're going to mark it. Then in our white, we're going to work 2 single crochet, changing back to our pink in the second stitch. And it's entirely up to you if you want to mark those or not. The written version of the pattern will indicate that you should mark them, so I am going to mark them today, but I think that those 2 stitches are relatively easy to spot. And at this point we have 5 stitch markers in our work. So our pink is back on our hook. We're going to work a single crochet, and we're going to mark it. And now we're going to work the second arm. So once again, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to turn, and in the second chain from our hook, we're going to work another 2 double crochet plus picot cluster. So we yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. And again, yarn over, insert our hook into the same chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Then work a little picot. And slip stitch into, well, that's the picot. There we are, that's the picot done. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and complete the stitch. Then working into our 3 remaining chains, we're going to slip stitch in the next one along, 3 single crochet in the next one, 1, 2, and 3. And then we are going to double crochet into that last one. And we are going to mark that stitch. And again, if you have a piece of yarn or a different colored stitch marker you can use, mark this one as arm 2. And I'm going to use some yellow for that. Like so. So we're a spiky little being at the moment, but this will all resolve within 1 row. We're not quite done yet though. So going back to working into the body, find the next stitch around, and we're going to work a single crochet, changing back to our white. And we're going to mark it, and this one here is one of the most important stitches to mark because you're going to lose it otherwise. And in the next stitch, we're going to fold the arm we just did, so arm number 2 forward. You'll note that it's pointing backwards, so we're going to fold it forwards. We're going to find the stitch that we marked as arm number 2. We just literally just did it. It's the one I've marked in yellow. And I'm going to insert my hook through that marked stitch and through the next stitch of the body. Like that. Just move that around to the front where it belongs. And I'm going to work a single crochet through both layers. So that's just bending that arm forward so it's no longer pointing backwards. And at this point you can remove your arm 2 marker. Again, that was the one that I marked with yellow just recently. Do you mind holding that for me? Thank you, cutie. Go cuties. This is mine now. Huzzah! And okay, and we're going to mark the stitch that we just did. I'm probably going to need that back. And we have just 2 stitches left in our round. And we're going to work a single crochet into each of them, marking each of them. So that's 1, and this is 2. And I'm not a monster. I'm going to find another bobby pin. As goodness knows, I have hundreds of them lying around. Okay, So this is what we look like at the moment. One arm pointing up in the air. The next row will pull that down a little bit more. One arm behaving fairly well, but still has a blue marker in it. It's the arm 1 marker. And then we just have 9, we should have 10 in total bobby pins in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's no 11. Yeah, so that is the end of row number 8. So we're going to head into row number 9 now, and it's a little bit less janky. So row number 9 is going to be easy, only because we used as many stitch markers as we did. So as we work our stitches for row 9, we're going to remove these stitch markers. So we're going to start with a single crochet, pop the marker out. Then the next stitch we're going to work is into our arm 1 stitch, not through the body, just through arm 1. So you're going to have to like fold it all the way forward, insert your hook from the outside of the arm to the inside of the arm, and to pop the stitch marker out so that we can see properly, and work a single crochet through just the arm. That is technically adding a stitch to our row, but honestly the previous row was so chaotic it was really difficult to get a row count anyway. We're then going to work 6 single crochet around, and each one of the stitches that we have to work into is marked, which is going to make this easier. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now next one's all the way over here. See what I mean about how you would lose it if it wasn't marked? Five. And 6. Leaving us with just 2 markers left, and we are going to decrease. So I'll pop both of those out because we can see those stitches pretty easily. Okay, so please note, you do still have to take the arm and just curve it forward and under the chin yourself. But otherwise, her little armies are now present. And we're only at the end of row 9. But things are now wrangled and back under control a little bit more. So the next 2 rows are worked entirely in our white. So row 10 starts with a decrease, then an increase. 1, 2. Then we have 2 repeats of 3 single crochet into the same stitch. So here's our first repeat. 1, 2, 3. There's our first one. We're going to do that again in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. It's giving us a little bit of an uptick to the body. In the next stitch, we're going to do an increase. 1 and 2. There you go. Then a decrease. And front and center is a single crochet, leaving you with 13 stitches in your round. Row 11 starts with 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have 2 repeats of 3 single crochet into the same stitch. And 6 single crochet back to the start of the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. So there we are at the end of row 11. See, the body has quite an abrupt curl upwards. That's fine. It's going to level out a little bit more as we finish working the stitches, but for now it's allowed to curl all the way over. And we're going to stop here and stuff a little bit more again. It's about as full as I can make it. So in row 12, we're going to be making the legs, which, just as a reminder, look a little bit like this. Now, the one we're making today does have an additional stripe across her back, just because I like that idea better. Just to let you know, there's going to be a slight difference between this one and that one. So row 12 starts with a single crochet, changing to our pink. And now we are going to make legs 1 and 2. So we start by chaining 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we turn and work 3 slip stitches back up the chain. 1, 2, 3. Then in the next stitch, we are going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in the front loop only, and then slip stitch in the back loop of the same stitch. So we'll do that, take this one step at a time. But if it makes it easier for you, you can mark the back loop before we get started so you can find it later. So a 3 double crochet cluster is worked very similar to how we did the tips of the claws. We yarn over our hook, insert through just the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Did I skip a stitch there? No, I didn't. We're good. Am I sure? Yeah, I'm sure. So then we yarn over and pull through 2 loops on our hook, leaving us with 1 tiny nub and 2 loops on our hook. So we're going to do that again 2 more times, all into the same loop. So we yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, adding a nub and a loop to our hook. So we've got 2 nubs and 3 loops. We do that 1 more time. Yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 of the loops on our hook. So now we have 3 little nubs and 4 loops on our hook. So I'm going to yarn over and complete that stitch. Then I'm going to I'm going to basically curve the whole thing over, find that back loop, which I did mark before we started the stitch, but you didn't have to. And I'm going to slip stitch into the back loop of the same stitch. That is going to anchor that little leg, that chubby little leg, in place. So there is leg number 1, and we're going to do the same thing in the next stitch over. So I'm going to move my stitch marker and mark the back loop of the next stitch as well. And we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in the front loop only. Like so, and then a slip stitch in the back loop. Then we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn and work 3 slip stitches back up the chain. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to remove this stitch marker so we don't get confused later. And there is leg 1 and 2. So now we're going to keep our pink on our hook and create a little pink stripe across her back. So to do that, we are going to work 4 single crochet. And that's my first stitch. I'm going to mark that so I can find it later. That's just a convenience thing. Going to save me some stress. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to work 2 repeats of 3 single crochet into the same stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and again 1, 2, 3, and then 4 single crochet, and be careful not to lose a stitch because this is all very tight quarters. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And at this point, you should be able to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white stitches between where you currently are and where the first pink bit of the foot is. So the end of the row is actually here, but you should be able to see 5 white stitches there. And if you can't, I can almost guarantee that you lost a stitch and it was probably swallowed by the 3 single crochet into the same stitch. So I would encourage you to go back and check, because I didn't. And what you didn't see is that I edited this and cut it out, but I had to make these legs twice. We're going to mark this stitch. And we're going to make legs 3 and 4. So we're going to start by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then turn and work 3 slip stitches down the chains. 1, 2, and 3. So just like we did before, I'm going to mark the back loop of the next stitch. And in the front loop only, work a 3 double crochet cluster. Like so. Then fold it over and work a slip stitch into the back loop of the same stitch. That's leg number 3, and we have 1 more to go. So mark the back loop of the next stitch and work a 3 double crochet cluster in the front loop only. And slip stitch in the back loop. So we have 1 little foot left to make. So we chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, I know you want to join the parade, little bug. Then we turn and work 3 slip stitches back up the chains. 1, 2, 3. And you should still be able to see 3 white stitches. So we're going back to working into the body now, and we're going to work a single crochet, changing back to our white. And I would encourage you strongly to mark that pink stitch because you will lose it. And then 1 white single crochet back to the start of our row. So that is what we currently look like, but it all comes together really quickly from here. It's a little bit scrabbly at the moment, but it will come together from here. So row 13 starts with a single crochet. That falls before the leg. Then we're just going to hold that leg up and out the way, and we're just going to work a single crochet between these 2 little leg bumps. So there, like that. Ignoring all of the other nonsense going on there, 1 single crochet between the leg bumps. Then we're going to work 14 single crochet around. And so we'll fold the other leg out of the way and see this marked stitch? That's our next stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the 14th one should fall in the marked stitch before the second set of legs. There we go. So we've got a nice little stripy skirt on right now. We are once again going to ignore all of the stitch nonsense and loop nonsense going on, and we are just going to simply single crochet between the 2 leg bumps. Like so. And then, oh, I've got a spare stitch marker still inserted. Let's take that one out. And then we have just 2 single crochet back to the start of our row. So if we fold our last leg forward, we've marked the stitch after it. That's our first one. 1 and 2. So there we are at the end of row 13. Stitch markers actually make this pattern way more manageable than I thought they were going to. If you want to play on hard mode, do all of this without any stitch markers and just, actually, you know what, don't do that. I love you too much to want you to cause yourself that kind of pain. So row 14 starts with a single crochet 3 together, and we are going to be changing to our pink. So that's the same as any other color change where you work the majority of the stitch, and then for your final yarn over and pull through, you just use your new color. Then in our pink, we are going to work 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to work a picot. And then 6 more single crochet, changing back to our white in the 6th stitch. 5, and this is number 6. In our white, we're going to work a single crochet 3 together. And a single crochet to finish the row. Okay, so that's it for the pink. We can trim that off now and just generally untangle ourselves from it. And we are going to take another moment and stuff some more. And we have only 2 rows left, and so you may want to just stuff as you go at this point, just to make sure that you get our butt nice and full. Row 15 starts with a decrease. And then working in the back loops only, we're going to work 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then still working in the back loops only, we're going to work a decrease, and I suggest a standard decrease for this one, even if you've been working invisible decreases the rest of the time. It's going to fall under that little picot. Then in the back loops, 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're just going to decrease and single crochet to finish the row. There's a spider sitting on my stuffing bag. It's not a big one, it's just about this big. And I looked away for a second and oh no, there he is. I was just like, what do you think you're gonna do on my stuffing bag, man? Like, you're gonna get squished and I won't be happy. I'll be sad. Okay, one final row to go. We're going to work 3 repeats of a single crochet 3 together and a single crochet. So there's our first repeat. We're going to do that 2 more times. So single crochet 3 together and a regular single crochet and single crochet 3 together and a regular single crochet. Oh, you're climbing up my leg now. Look, man, there's personal space, okay? I got boundary issues. You gotta back off. Very polite tap, tap, tap on my leg. All right, and finish off. So we are going to take our remaining tail and weave it around our opening. Just pulling that strand through the front loops only of all of the remaining stitches. Like so, and tuck that away inside. I may have overstuffed. She's feeling very, very stiff. You may need to like jostle the legs around a little bit to get them to sit right. This arm is definitely determined to be up. You can stitch it down if you would like to. I just don't mind tilting it down whenever I need it to. And there is our little praying mantis base. So as mentioned, this is completely optional, but I do think it adds a little bit of life to her if we do add some just little focuses for the eye. I do think that sort of like just a little ways in to the pink is the way to go here. I would show you guys the little spider on screen, but I don't want to freak out the arachnids. I promised no spiders in Bugsmas, but I'm being kept company at the moment. There we go. A couple of little loopies over with our black. Yeah, I think she looks quite spiffy with the additional little line on her butt. It's nice. I was looking for a way to incorporate a little bit more of the pink, because ideally I would have liked to incorporate a darker pink as well, but honestly I'm trying not to like incorporate too many colors into this series. I'm trying to keep it manageable. There we go. We'll just clean this up now. Yeah, that wasn't as bad as I remember it being, which is funny because I'd made one just this morning. I suppose we could put a little white dot in there as well, just like kind of like we did with Mr. Bumblebee. Let's see if we can make it work. So yeah, I hope you guys liked Little Orchid Mantis. I really did my best with her. She would have been a lot easier if she was just a regular mantis. Just saying. But the challenge was worth it, I think, and I hope you guys like her. There we go. Just a little tiny pair of eyes. And I'll have to get some better shots of her. She's way cuter sitting. There is day number 6. Halfway point. So there is our finished little orchid mantis. I hope you enjoyed the process of making her today. She's probably not as hard as I'm making her sound, right? Maybe it's just she's just falling into a little place for me that's really difficult. But yeah, I'm glad you had fun with her. So don't forget to leave, okay, this one's important, right? If you managed to make this, I need to see photos of it. I need proof. I need proof that someone else can make this bug. So I want to see all of the photos, Complicated Knots Discord, and I want to be able to show them all off to everybody else tomorrow. This is a badge of honor to have made this little bug, okay? Okay, right, let's get on to our clue for day number 7. Well guys, we're on to the second row. Here we are at the halfway point. Look at them. So we have completed one full row. Who's ready to do this again? Anyway, day 7. So the clue for day 7 is that these little bugs are disgustingly cute. I know that's not helpful, so this is your clue for day 7. You'll either get it or you won't. So the colours I'm personally going to use for day 7 are grass green, cream, grey and a pale yellow, but I feel like there's going to be some differing opinions as to what colours this guy should be. But you'll have to wait till tomorrow to work out what I mean by that. Alright, hope to see you there. Bye!